Yo, what's up everyone? I'm Fireborn, and today I want to take you guys on a 5-hour journey through Hollow Nest. Of course, I'm talking about the 5-hour speedrunning achievement. Speedrunners to this day, we get asked all the time about this achievement, and I'm 3 hours in. What do I need to do? I'm stressing out and everything. So I'm going to be giving you my speedrunning wisdom that I've gained over the years. Mainly that's just going to be telling you to get Descending Dark because it's broken. But in this video, we're going to be going over some tips and tricks, and then we'll be looking at some of the bosses in the run, and I'm just going to be commentating them and telling you what I'm doing. Okay? So you can also see on the screen, I've got my Steam guide. So the main thing in this guide is going to be the routes. So I've made these route maps that are very detailed. It took me almost a day to make everything, and it's probably super overkill, but I thought, some of you might need the extra help. So I'm going to show you, it tells you all the stuff you need to pick up, the geo you need to get, when to unlock stag stations, what bosses you need to kill, what abilities you need to pick up, and also tells you when the next segment is. And there's the geo requirements right here, as well as some extra notes if you're kind of confused about anything. So you can start the run before you look at these maps. You don't need to memorize these maps. Basically, you can just pause the game at any point and alt-tab out and look at the maps, and the time while the game's paused is not going to count against your in-game time for the achievement. Some of you might want a full video walkthrough of the speedrun, and that's not what this is going to be. If you want that, then I'm going to link in the description to another speedrunner who has made a guide like that. But with all that said, let's get into the tips. Okay, so for these tips, I already kind of listed them in my guide, but I'm going to be going over them in a bit more detail. So first off, we're going to be using a geo route. So a geo route is like a speedrunning thing. Basically, it's looking at where we're going to be getting geo throughout the run, as well as where we're going to be spending it, and it's just mapping everything out. This is all going to be included in the route maps, but the point is, you don't need to be killing a ton of smaller enemies unless they're, in your way or they're posing a threat or you need to get soul. You don't need to be worrying about geo. We're going to be mostly getting our geo from relics, which is the stuff that you sell to Lem, like the Hollow Nest seals, the journals, and so on. We're also going to be hitting a lot of boss chests, and those are going to be our main sources of geo. It's all going to be shown in the guide. Just make sure that when you're going through the segments that you're hitting all of those parts, okay? The next thing is I really want you guys to focus on safety. If you think you might take damage from something, just take your time and go through it slowly. And it might seem like overkill, but keep your HP maxed out as much as possible. One thing I see even from beginner speedrunners, people learning the route, is they wait until they get to 1 or 2 HP before they start thinking about their health. It's something even I'm guilty of, in my marathon races. I'll just take damage until I'm at 1 or 2 health, and I'm like, oh, I'm almost dead. But when you're doing this speedrun, really as soon as you take damage, start looking for opportunities to heal that up. Otherwise, you're going to be dying, and the only way that you don't make the 5-hour time limit is if you die a ton. You have to die probably over 10 times, maybe even well over 10 times. And really just avoiding dying as much as possible is gonna ensure your best chances, okay? The next thing is safety benches. Now, you're gonna see in the route maps that I've made that there are a lot of optional benches that you can hit, and that just ensures that if you do die to something, you're not gonna be running halfway across the map to get back to your shade. And it really sucks if you do die twice in a row. That's something you want to avoid, because you'll lose geo, and that means you have to go and check for geo backups, which I've also listed in the guide, and you'll have to get something extra in order to make up for that lost geo, probably. The next thing is we're going to be using a spell build. Now, A lot of people use nail builds in their casual playthrough and are more comfortable with nail builds because nail builds are really simple and they also let you heal with all of your soul. But the problem with nail builds in a speedrunning achievement like this is that nail builds take a long time to get going. If you really want nail builds to be stronger than spell builds, you're gonna have to get like nail 3 or 4. You're gonna need unbreakable strength, you're gonna want quick slash, all this other stuff that just takes a ton of time to get. Whereas with a spell build, you get Shaman Stone, you get a level 2 spell, and you're absolutely destroying bosses just with that. And we're going to be getting Spell Twister as well, as long as 2 charm notches, and that's just going to really let us melt bosses. So one thing is we're going to be getting Descending Dark, as I've already said. I'm going to show you how to use it when we get to the boss videos, but Descending Dark has invincibility frames, so we're going to be abusing that a lot. It's going to make the fights a lot easier. Okay, so with that said, let's get into the bosses. The first boss I'm going to be covering is Dung Defender. There are some bosses before this, but they're pretty straightforward. If you've done a casual playthrough, they should be very easy for you. This is the first boss where we have Descending Dark, so I'm going to be explaining how to make use of that effectively. So you're going to notice as soon as the fight starts, he's like burrowed underground like this. As soon as you see that, you can cast Descending Dark, and it's going to knock him out of that, and he gets stunned and put into a helpless state. Now, I like to start the fight off by using D-Dark right on top of his body again, and what that does is, whenever an enemy screams in this game, like, usually as an intro, it'll stun your character, right? So if you cast D-Dark inside of him, he gets up, and his hitbox is out, so he stuns you, but then he hits you right after, so he hits you out of the stun. And you can use all this time to just beat on him, and you can see I hit him 4 times with a nail and then cast D-Dark again, and it instantly stuns him again. So that's already like over a quarter of his health gone, just from the start. It's like, yeah, you lose 1 HP, but it's kind of worth it. If you're not comfortable with it, it's totally fine not to do it. Now, the bread and butter of this fight is really just, you cast D-Dark, and then you walk outside of his body, and then you side slash him and pogo him and cast D-Dark again. And you're going to be doing that for pretty much the entire fight. Now, you might wonder why, the fight's already over, you might be wondering why you have to walk out of his body first, because you might have seen speedrunners, they just like spam Descending Dark in one spot. You can't do that on current patch. You can only do that on older patches, and the reason is, like, as soon as you cast another spell or go for a nail hit, the invincibility frames from Descending Dark instantly end. So if you're inside of the enemy and you go for a nail swing, the invincibility frames end and you instantly get hit. So you want to make sure to walk outside of their body before you do the next attack. And let's try to find an example of that. See, I'm inside of his body, but as the Descending Dark ends, I walk outside first, and then I go for a nail swing. See, I'm inside the body still, kinda, maybe not, but close. I walk outside and just nail swing, pogo, D-Dark again. Okay, and that's all you have to do for the fight. That's kind of what we're going to be doing for most of the bosses. So, that's Dung Defender. Next, I'm going to show you a Pogo Skip. This is the pogo to get up to Watcher Knights. Now, this is not absolutely mandatory, but it does save some time to do. This is the only point in the run where you normally need Monarch Wings, but you can skip Monarch Wings by just doing this little skip. All you have to do is pogo that, and then you dash into this wall, and as soon as the dash ends, you do a jump, and then you land here, okay? It's not super precise, but some of you might have a bit more input lag than, you know, speedrunners who have super PCs and like have the game optimized. So this might be difficult, but it's not super precise. So you can also get it with that one on the side in case you miss it with the first one. It's a little bit trickier, but it's not too bad. If you mess up, you just go down the elevator to the left and you can exit the room and re-enter it. and take the elevator back up, and these will respawn. So you have, you know, as many tries as you need. If you're really struggling with it, I recommend just going down to Broken Vessel, get the bench along the way and sit on it, and then kill Broken Vessel, get Monarch Wings, and save and quit back to the bench. It's not a huge detour. It's just not necessary if you can do this. You might struggle with it though, and that's totally fine. It's not, you know, a huge time loss to not do this. And you also get Monarch Wings, which can be kind of nice for like the Hollow Knight. So, but honestly, like, give this a try. It shouldn't be too difficult. I say as I fail it in the video. You know, everyone fails this sometimes, so don't feel too bad about it. And I've done it, you know, thousands of times. So anyway, that's the Pogo Skip. Next up, we have Watcher Knights. So before you even go into the arena, you should break that ceiling there. It's a little secret. So when you break this chandelier, it actually falls onto one of these Watcher Knights and kills them before the fight starts. Now, another thing before the fight is you can dream nail these guys and get soul. That allows you to just heal up and get full soul before the fight starts. Now, as these guys spawn, you can see he's stood up and his hitbox is there, but he's not going to take damage. What you can do while he's standing up is dream nail him. You can see I have a dream nail going, and that just gives me a bit more soul to continue casting Descending Dark. Of course, I have full soul already at this point, but as the subsequent Watcher Knight spawn, you can do that. You'll just get more soul. It's nice. Anyway, the inputs for this boss fight are super simple. You see, I jump above him, I pogo, I cast Descending Dark. Now, again, I'm inside the hitbox, so I don't want to instantly attack again. I'm just going to jump above, pogo, Descending Dark. Do that 3 times, and the Watcher Knight's dead. Easy peasy. Now this guy's about to spawn, so I dream nail him. You don't need to dream nail him like the instant he spawns. It's not super precise. You can, you know, make your dream nail land like a second after he spawns. That's totally fine. Because like I said, they're not vulnerable to being hit for like until, you know, 2 seconds after they stand up. So you may as well just wait and dream nail them. And here, it's pretty much the same thing. You're going to need to be hitting them a little bit more, like maybe 2 times before you cast Descending Dark. And you can see, like, right here, I see the Watcher Knight bounce onto the screen. So I just used Descending Dark for the iframes, and that just lets me dodge this guy's attack. And same thing, just bread and butter, jump above their heads, pogo, Descending Dark. It is a very common theme in this run. You just want to be mindful of, you know, where they're attacking. The only things that these guys can do is do their double nail swing, they can roll, or they can bounce. So there's not that many options that they even have. Anyway, that's the Watcher Knights fight. Oh, wrong video. Let's go to Umu next. Now, Umu is kind of like a test of patience. Okay, so Umu, as you know, he has vulnerable phases and he has phases where he attacks. You can kill Umu if you just, you know, swing your nail at him 1 time in each vulnerable phase and never get hit. But it's going to take forever. So we try to cast Descending Dark. You want to go into this fight with full soul because every cast that you can get is very helpful and time efficient. Now, one thing to note about how I'm moving Umu around is I bring him to the top corner first, and then I try to bring him down to this platform. He'll follow you, you know, wherever you're standing. So I bring him down to that corner, and then I stand on the middle platform afterwards. And that brings him to a spot, like, whenever he's inside of a platform, he won't actually get knocked back very much by any attack. So if you have him on top of these small platforms, he's gonna like instantly try to move away from you and he'll be outside the platform. But when you put him in the big platform, he'll be in that big platform for pretty much the entire vulnerable phase. Now, whenever Umu's vulnerable, he'll accelerate away from you. So the small platforms don't really work. You want to bring him to these big ones, and then you can see he's like above the platform. So I pogo him a couple times to put him inside of it, and then I cast Descending Dark. You see, when I cast Descending Dark, he doesn't get knocked back, which is exactly what you want. So, after that first phase, the way we're luring him around and manipulating his movement changes. The basic idea is you want to be standing on those bottom two corner platforms and just keep him inside the middle platform. So you stand on one end and he'll get lured into the platform over here, for example, if I'm standing here. And then he'll do another attack. You want to get to this platform by the time that attack is over, and he'll be lured over to this side of the platform. And if he does another attack, then you want to go over here and lure him back over here. And that way he just stays inside the center platform after every single attack. And sometimes you need to get to the other platform really quickly, like if he does a quick attack, because he can either only do the chasing attack or the fast attack. And if he does the fast attack, then just Crystal Dash over to this side. You can see you can get 2 Descending Dark casts pretty easily per vulnerable phase, and that'll take 2 cycles for you to do. And yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Just don't get impatient in this fight, because that's the way you're going to die. Okay? Like, it doesn't matter really how long it takes, but when you start dying, that's when you start to get very tilted. Because I know from experience, because I've fought this boss for dozens of hours in practice, and it's a terrible boss, guys. Just make sure you get him on your first try. Heal up if you have to. It's not a big deal to lose a bit of time. And just keep your health full, and use Descending Dark when you can. Okay. And this is going to be Hollow Knight. This is the hardest boss of the run, for sure. Especially on current patch, because some of his attacks still 2 damage. But the basic idea behind the THK fight is going to be basically the same as Dung Defender. You want to hit him, and then jump over his head and hit him a few more times in the process. And you want to make sure to move outside of his hitbox whenever you do use D-Dark. Now, something important to note is this boss staggers in the beginning of the fight. So you'll see it, like, once you hit him enough times, he falls over. Okay, his head hitbox is super annoying. So when you pogo him while he's in this state, he's going to instantly get up, and his head's going to hit you. So be very careful about pogoing him while he's on the ground like this, because the head hitbox is the real boss of this fight. But be careful of these pillars. You can see I knocked myself back into one, almost. That's because I'm confident in not getting hit from doing this boss fight so much. But you can see my main bread and butter is just hit him a couple times, then jump above and cast D-Dark. His giant head hits me. Alright, so this is the stabbing phase. This means we're going into the second phase of the fight. While he's stabbing himself, everything you do only deals 1 damage to him. So you just want to use that time to get max health, and as well get your soul up too. And here he's doing the bounce attack. You just want to dash back and forth to dodge that. He's stabbing himself again, so I just hit him to get full soul. He teleports away. Something you'll be doing a lot in this fight is jumping to your max jump height and then dashing to reposition yourself for a D-Dark cast. Okay, once you get to this part, once he teleports to the center and screams, that means you're close to the end of the fight. He's only gonna stab himself, do the bounce attack, like the slam attack, like this one, or he'll do like a pitiful little swing, and you can see he's dead. Pretty easy stuff, guys. You know, it's probably not going to look that easy for you, but it's not going to be super hard as long as you follow, you know, the advice I've been giving. If your fights do look like that, though, then maybe you should get into speedrunning. Anyway, I think that's pretty much it. Good luck with the run, guys. And this is some new content for me, so if you want to see more of this, I might be doing stuff like this for Silksong or for speedrunning. Let me know if you want to see more of it, but yeah, I think that's it. So thanks for watching, guys. See ya.